All right, let's jump right in. We're about to talk about what might just be the biggest economic shift of our lifetime. It's an industrial revolution that's not happening in some new country, but in an entirely new realm, space. And the wealth it could unlock? It's quite literally astronomical.
I want you to really let that question sink in. We talk all the time about AI, biotech, clean energy, right? But what if the most incredible wealth generation of this century is just waiting for us, a few million miles away? Because look, this is way beyond just planting flags on the moon. We are talking about a full-blown, off-world economy. And in this first part, we're going to look at the foundation that's already being built as we speak.
Let's get one thing straight. This is not some distant sci-fi dream. This is about real capital, real hardware, and very real companies making massive bets on our future in the cosmos. The space economy isn't coming, it's already here. And believe me, smart money is already moving in.
And you know, this isn't starting from zero. This whole new frontier is being built on top of very real, multi-billion-dollar industries that already exist. I mean, your GPS, weather forecasts, global internet, it all runs on satellite services. Companies are already selling tickets for space tourism. We're making unique materials in zero gravity. We're analyzing Earth observation data to track everything from shipping to crops. People are even working on beaming solar power down from orbit. This isn't the future. This is the ground floor.
So that kind of begs the question, right? Space has been there forever. So why is this huge economic explosion happening right now? What changed? Well, it turns out a couple of very big things changed.
The single biggest factor is cost. It's just simple economics. A couple of decades ago, launching 1 kilogram into orbit would cost you as much as a luxury car. But now, thanks to reusable rockets, that cost has absolutely plummeted by over 90%. That is a total game changer, and it's suddenly thrown the doors wide open for all kinds of new business ideas.
But the lower cost is only half the story. The other thing that's really putting fuel on the fire is this powerful new partnership. You've got private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin bringing the speed, the relentless innovation, and the cash. And at the same time, you have national governments providing the long-term vision and that geopolitical motivation. Let's be honest, controlling the high ground of space is now seen as absolutely critical for national security and global influence.
So, with cheaper access and this brand new economic engine, we can finally start talking about the biggest prize of all, tapping into off-world resources. And this is where the scale just becomes mind-boggling.
Just pause and absorb the scale of that statement. We're not talking about finding a new mine somewhere on Earth. We are talking about an influx of materials so huge, it could fundamentally change the economics of resources for our entire planet. It could make precious metals as common as aluminum.
So how would this even work? Well, the game plan itself is surprisingly straightforward, even if the tech is, well, it's rocket science. You'd start by sending out robotic prospectors to find the right asteroids, the ones rich in materials. Then, autonomous mining rigs do the hard work of extraction. The really key part is you process the materials right there in space, to avoid hauling tons of useless rock back to Earth. And finally, you use so-called space tugs to deliver the refined resources where they're needed.
But before we even get to the asteroid belt, the first major economic hub is going to be much closer to home, the moon. Think of it as the ultimate strategic high ground. Its water ice can be turned into rocket fuel, basically creating an orbital gas station. It's got tons of helium-3, a rare isotope that could be the perfect clean fuel for fusion reactors back here on Earth. The moon isn't just a destination, it's the perfect staging point for the entire solar system, all while you're developing a near-term tourism market on the side.
Now, as exciting as all of this is, we have to ground ourselves in reality. This journey is absolutely paved with immense challenges. And they're not just technological, they're legal and political too. This is the fundamental trillion-dollar question that hangs over everything. The Outer Space Treaty from back in 1967 says no nation can claim sovereignty over, say, the moon or an asteroid. But does that apply to a private company? Can you claim an asteroid that you've mined? Right now, it's pretty much the Wild West, legally speaking.
The challenges really fall into two big buckets. You've got the tech hurdles, which are huge. Designing robots that can mine an asteroid millions of miles away is obviously no small feat. But the human hurdles, they might be even trickier. How do you update 60-year-old treaties for a world with private space companies? How do you prevent conflicts between countries over a valuable asteroid? These are the really tough questions that keep mission planners up at night.
So, if you're looking at this from an investor's point of view, what's the takeaway?
Well, the key is to understand this is the very definition of high risk, high reward. The timelines here are measured in decades, not quarters, and a single vote at the UN could have a bigger impact than a successful rocket launch. The potential is astronomical, for sure, but the risks are just as vast.
So we end where we began, looking out towards the horizon. The foundation is being laid for a true multi-planetary economy. The question is no longer if we will build an economy in space, but what kind of economy it will be. So what do you think we'll build first? Lunar resorts or asteroid foundries?